So another change of plans. I'm going to see if I can get to Playa San Marcos. It says in Google Maps that it's a 40-minute walk, but I don't know if it's going to be a normal trail and not like a highway. So let's see what awaits us, but it's 40 minutes and I'm hoping we could get there and chill on the beach. So let's go. To Playa San Marcos we go, hopefully. A few minutes in, this hike is nothing short of beautiful. We've got the valleys and we've got the village of Agulo. If you saw my hiking video of Agulo to Pescante de Armigua, this view might look familiar, but this hike actually starts behind the village. So similar view, but different. Lots of gorgeous valleys in La Gomera. And of course, some banana trees down to the left. Look at these valleys though, so gorgeous. And I believe this is probably the beach just farther north ahead that we're going to, Playa de San Marcos. Here are the valleys. And there is the village along the mountains. So beautiful. I was just thinking, like, sometimes change of plans are actually convenient because look at these views. I wouldn't have come here if I wasn't able to go to the Mirador, I think. So nice find, nice find. For this hike in La Gomera, we've got 45 minutes on the clock and we are going downhill in this direction. About halfway now to Playa de San Marcos. We have another 20 minutes to go. But look at this insane view. Like, wow. If you haven't noticed already, this is the part of the hike where the mountains will do all the talking. La Gomera has some of the most dramatic landscapes I've ever seen in all of Spain. Like, look at these mountains, these deep valleys, and layers of just green stacked on top of each other. What makes this hike so wild is that these mountains weren't shaped slowly over time. They basically exploded into existence. I don't know if you know this, but La Gomera is actually one of the oldest volcanic islands in the Canaries, and you can actually see its history in the cliffs. And if you want to hear something even cooler, this hiking trail has been used for generations. Before roads, people used these paths to move things like bananas, crops, and even fish between the coast and the villages up here. What's really cool about this hike is that every few steps, the view changes. It's also good to know that La Gomera has all of these microclimates, so one minute you're in the middle of these green terraces and the next you're walking through pure volcanic landscape. This honestly might be one of the most underrated coastal walks on La Gomera. It's totally worth the hike down. So interesting. Almost at the beach. I think we have like 5 minutes left. So the reason why I'm walking here is because I've seen one car pass in a total of 40 minutes, so definitely a lot safer than the Mirador that was taking me on a highway, and that was an active highway, so there were a bunch of cars coming and going, and I was like, this is probably not a good idea. So here we have the Ermita de San Marcos, and I'm going to put a picture so you guys could learn a little bit more about it in case you're interested, because this is actually quite historic to the village of San Marcos. And then over here, we've got some more spectacular views. Diggy, 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 dig. That looks like a hike. To up there. Maybe a little viewpoint. And then here you've got the beach. Let's continue our mission. All right, guys, we made it to Playa de San Marcos. Can't wait to show you the view. Absolutely stunning and so worth the hike. Flip this around so you guys can see the front view. Something that's really good to know in case you haven't seen my other videos about La Gomera, specifically on the north of the island, the beaches are relatively rocky, so something to keep in mind when looking for beaches in La Gomera, Spain. A lot of people recommend to visit the beaches in the north and go for like a walk there and then swim at the beaches in the south, because the beaches in the south of La Gomera have sand. The beaches that I specifically swam at in the north of La Gomera were natural pools, and then outside of that, I did see some locals fishing here at Playa San Marcos. One thing I didn't realize when hiking down here is just how deeply festive this place is, and not just in a touristy way, but with real tradition. And let me explain this a little bit further. So every year in this part of La Gomera, on April 24th and April 25th, the town of Agulo celebrates San Marcos Evangelista. The night before, they light huge bonfires, also known as hogueras, and some locals actually jump over them as part of a centuries-old promise ritual. It's very traditional, and if you ever go to this beach, you'll see an information board with info all about the festivities. I highly recommend, if you're ever near Playa San Marcos in La Gomera during this time, to check out this celebration. It feels like the heart of the community where people share food, talk around the fire, and celebrate together. And after that, the next day, they carry the image of San Marcos in a procession down to a chapel near the beach. And this is all accompanied by the rhythm of chacaras and drums, local music, and lots of dancing. Alrighty, I'm back at the apartment. Now it's time to make some lunch. But first, I want to show you this view. So remember when I first got here, there was Calima, so it wasn't that clear. But now you can see Teide from Tenerife. Look at Papa Teide right there. Say hello. Stunning. And then we have this spectacular view that's a bit clear. A crazy, crazy big bee just almost flew on me. Oh my God, I thought it was gonna sting me. Anyways, this view, look at how freaking beautiful. So stunning. All right, so now that we are back in Agulo, I have to tell you that I got a terrible blister on my pinky toe after this hike. Compeed definitely came in and saved the day, and I actually had to take off the next day because, of course, I didn't want to make the blister worse. And if you've never heard about Compeed before, let me tell you, this stuff is a game changer. These bandages are basically a super thin gel-like blister plaster that cushions the area, protects it from friction, and actually helps it heal faster. What's also cool about Compeed is that the band-aid falls off once it needs to come off, so you can put it on and forget about it. Compeed is a very popular brand in Spain, and if you happen to come hiking in Spain and also get a blister, definitely get these because they're really effective. After going to the pharmacy to get Compeed, I made lunch because I was starving. Accidentally semi-burnt my sandwich, but I was so hungry that didn't even matter. The first thing I got at the local supermarket was La Gomera cheese. It's very good, and I highly recommend trying that when you're visiting the island. I would say it's a very smoked cheese, but it's super delicious. If you love cheese, you gotta try it. I then got some veggies such as avocado and cucumber, and of course some freshly baked bread. Lastly, I also got lettuce and some cold cuts such as jamón ibérico and chorizo ibérico. On some days, this was very much a sandwich and salad trip, so of course I had to stack up. So tomorrow for lunch or dinner, I'll probably make quinoa, chop up some cucumbers, avocado, onions, tomato, and some cheese and call it a day. Finished some work meetings, and then right after that, I called a cab because I made all the reservations. So basically, here the cabs work a little bit different. You can reserve a cab, but you do need to reserve with time. So basically, you need to call them an hour before pickup, or if you are planning to go a bit farther, you should reserve that a day or two in advance. So that's basically what I just did. We're gonna go see the dolphins on Sunday, remember? So I just reserved the ride to there. And then I did just wanna tell you some of the cab prices in case you do come here and you're curious on how that works. So for context, I'm staying in the village of Agulo, and tomorrow I'm going to Amigua. Amigua is about 10 minutes in car, and they're charging me 20 euros round trip. So I think that's pretty good. And then Valle Grande, however, is a bit more expensive coming from Agulo. So from Agulo to Valle Grande, it's about 70 euros. It kind of makes sense because the journey is quite long. It's an hour and 15 minutes to be exact. So there's also that. From Valle Hermoso to Agulo, returning, he said that would be 30 euros. So just some prices and ideas you can get if you also want to do La Gomera and you happen to want to take a cab. So it is now 7:30 on the dot. I finished the meetings for the day. So what I'm going to do is edit a bunch of content that I'm in the middle of. I have tons of travel tips and travel guides coming your way, so stay tuned for that.